one of the periods where we grew the most and made the most money was a period where I was drinking 4 nights a week, sleeping in until 1 p.m., basically totally checked out of day-to-day operations and working 2 or 3 hours a day. I had this period where I was single, I was in my early 20s, I was being irresponsible and kind of checked out and lazy. I'd worked really hard for 5 years. And what I noticed was the less I worked and the more I delegated, the better all the businesses did. I don't advocate doing it that way. I don't drink anymore, but I don't advocate going out and just getting wasted every night. But it was certainly another example where there was a forcing function of me getting distracted and I had to delegate. Otherwise, I would stop making money.
There's a couple things in there. One is the power of just kind of knowing what your strengths are. There's something that we talk about in the course as doing the things only you can do. What is the highest leverage use of your time? And for you, it sounded like that was marketing, bringing in new business, and then like letting the machine kind of take it from there that you had built. But the other is the lead into that is the building of the machine itself, right? Like that is something you had to do bolt by bolt, right? So that was there for the leads, or that was 5 years of hard work so that you could take that time. What makes that machine high leverage so that when you take time off or you can delegate it, those tasks or those processes are delegatable versus something that falls apart when you stop paying attention to it?
The hardest thing is not swooping in and saving people. So one of the problems I had in the early days as I delegated is I would go into our project management software and I'd start randomly checking in with different people, or I'd say, oh, I want to listen in on a client phone call, or I want to review this before it goes out. And I realized I did no favors. The hardest part about delegation is that you need to let them put out their own fires. So it's very difficult to watch someone you've delegated to fuck up, to deliver bad client work, to be off deadline, whatever it is. But the important thing is the client rips into them, they get negative feedback, they learn from that, and they go, okay, well, now I'm going to get better and improve, and then helping them do that. It goes back to like teaching a man to fish versus handing them a fish. Big difference. In the early days, that's the hardest part of building the machine. Outside of that, it just comes down to having exceptional people. And what I've learned over time is that when you hire people who have never existed in a similar machine, they're terrible.
Yeah.
So hiring for potential works 1 in 5 times, maybe if you're lucky. I got really lucky with Mark, for example, but I've had another 4 or 5 people for every one that have been disasters. And so what I ended up doing wasn't even building the process. What I did was I went out and I looked at other agencies that were bigger than us, and I poached their head of sales. I poached the head of HR, et cetera, and built out a team of people who naturally knew how to do those functions. And it was almost like the machine built itself and the processes kind of fell into place.